When you're on a cruise ship, it's like literally a small town. You get to visit bars, you get to visit restaurants, clubs. What's expected is that you get to have fun, you get to listen to music, but what's not expected is getting kidnapped.
On a cruise?
On a cruise ship. This happened to Amy Bradley in 1998. She was kidnapped on a cruise ship. Now, the questions that you first ask is how?
Yeah.
You know, there's thousands of people around. Did someone see? Did someone hear her scream? Wasn't there security? Like, all these questions come up to your head and make you overthink the situation and how she got kidnapped. People think that she might have fallen, but in reality, she was kidnapped and she was around thousands of people. So the question is, what happened to Amy Bradley and how was she kidnapped around thousands of people on a cruise ship?
And it's still a mystery?
Yes and no. We'll get into it.
Viewer and listener discretion is advised. This episode contains discussion of sensitive topics that may be distressing for some audiences. Please take care while listening, and if these topics are triggering for you, we encourage you to prioritize your well-being.
Welcome to Tea
And E
with a
T.
T. I'm your host, Teresa,
I'm your co-host, Edwin.
and today we're talking about Amy Bradley. Let's start from the very, very, very beginning. Amy Lynn Bradley. She was born on May 12th, 1974. I think that's the same day as my dad's birthday.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, she
No,
went...
I don't mean that, Dago.
Are you saying she's old? I mean, he's old.
No, I'm saying I thought she was like a young teen that got kidnapped.
She was.
Oh, it was back in the days?
I told you it was in 1998.
Oh,
In the very beginning.
Wow. A year after. Oh, the year you were born.
Mm-hmm. So she was born on May 12th, 1974 in Virginia, right?
Yeah.
She was 23 when she was last seen. So her brother was 21 at the time, and her brother's name was Brad Bradley. Her parents are Iva and Ron Bradley. Her parents were very young at the time. They were in the 40s when this whole thing happened.
It was the four of them.
It was the four of them on this cruise. Now, I'll get into the whole story of what happened and then who was on the cruise, how they get there on the cruise, whatever. She was always the life of the party. She was literally like this upbeat person. She has this beautiful smile every time I see her. Like, when I saw her on the videos, like on the documentary on Netflix or videos on YouTube and stuff like that, I would see her smile, and she has like this smile that is like very eye-catching. Like, you just want to look at her. Like, she's just very
Attractive?
yeah, she's an attractive person. She lights up the room as soon as she walks in. She's just that type of person. That's what a lot of people explained and what I experienced while looking at videos and also pictures. Now, she was very friendly with people. She had so many friends. She played basketball. I think she was the first female to get a full scholarship for basketball.
Really?
Yes. So, she was doing all of that. She went to college. She was basically living her life. At 23, she finally got her apartment on her own and her dog. She adopted a dog.
Mm-hmm.
So her life was coming together. She literally was so excited to start her young adult life.
Doesn't sound like suicide.
Exactly. So that's something that I did want to just make sure to clear on. It's just like, for me, it doesn't seem like this whole situation that happened with her was something that she intended to do, or like to fall, or to basically, you know.
And she is
inflict.
athletic, I guess. So, like,
Very
she had the balance to not fall. She had the strength to hold on to the rail and scream.
But people think that it was
Like a
she
big
did
wave?
it on her own.
Oh, the suicide
Like,
thing.
she jumped.
Well,
But we'll get into it, right? So she was starting her adult life. She was just really excited for this time, and she got out of college, so she graduated and everything. So everything was falling into place for her. Now, her parents won this trip on a cruise ship through an insurance company that they worked at. And they were going to go as a couple, the parents. But then when they found out that they could bring their kids, they were like, okay, well, let's go. Obviously, they were going to stay in the same room, but either way, they get to bring their kids.
Yeah.
Amy, 23 years old, and Brad was 21 years old. So they were full on grown adults, right? They were young adults. So it wasn't like
So
they were
23 and
kids.
24?
23 and 21.
Oh, 23 and 21.
So it was called the Royal Caribbean Cruise Ship, Rhapsody of the Seas. And they were traveling between Aruba and Curaçao. This cruise ship was taking off from San Juan, Puerto Rico on March 21st, and it was going to last until the 28th of that month.
Okay.
In
7-day trip.
in 1998. So for the first few days that they went, they were super excited. Everything was going great. They were having fun. They were getting tan. Everything was just going amazing. At this time, they hadn't gotten to Curaçao, but I believe it was the third day that they were getting into Curaçao.
That's when everything went wrong.
Technically, yes. But Aruba, they were in Aruba this whole entire time. And then by the third day, they were heading to Curaçao. Now, Aruba and Curaçao are they're not that far. Now, this third day, they're having a fancy dinner. So they go, and the whole cruise ship goes to like this fancy dinner. The Bradley family went to this fancy dinner. They got dressed and everything. Now, as soon as they get there, the the photographer asked, the family if they could take a picture of
Them.
Amy.
Oh, just Amy?
Yes. And so they did. And then they were like, okay, now with you and your boyfriend. And then Amy was like, no, that's my brother. So then they take a picture together. So Brad and Amy took a picture together, and then they also took a picture of Amy herself, by herself.
I think
so that was a little
like
bit
marketing.
weird.
Isn't that like marketing? Because like usually, you want to catch the more attractive people on video because they do better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Could be. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. That's what we do in Morocco, an aesthetically pleasing look or photogenic.
Yeah, because I didn't think about that. But maybe it could be. But it's, I guess when you look back at it, it's a little weird. But in the moment, it doesn't seem so weird, right? But anyways, so they take her picture and everything, and then they get to the table. They're sitting down, and while they're at the table, the waiter there was being very flirty with Amy. Like, he was just like, I guess, talking to her more, looking at her more, just flirting with her. And
she got that a lot, huh?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. She's a very attractive person, so she catches people's eye. So the family, the Bradley family, were all like, okay, if anybody wants anything, just tell Amy to ask the waiter because he's gonna bring it fast if she asks. So that was one thing that they joked about at that moment because of how the waiter was acting. Now, there was another moment at that time where the waiter asked Iva, where's Amy, or what is she doing, something like that.
The mom.
Yeah. Then he was like, oh, we want to take her to this bar. It's called, what was it called? Carlos and Charlie's in Aruba. Once the ship docks, we want to take her there. And then they were like, okay. And so they tell Amy, and Amy is like, oh no, we're not getting off this boat. Like, I don't want to get off. So it was just like a weird situation. Like, why are they trying to take her? Yeah, because they were trying to, the waiter was telling the mom that they wanted to invite Amy to this bar.
Take her out.
Like, taking her out. Like, a few other people on the cruise ship. I'm not sure if it was staff specifically, but I know a few people on the cruise ship wanted to take her to the bar.
So it wasn't the waiter.
The waiter was saying that he was involved too. Does that make sense? Like he was involved in this situation that he wanted to take wanted to take her out to this bar.
Okay.
Now, Amy, when Iva told Amy the situation, Amy was like, "No, I don't want to go. Like, I'm not trying to go somewhere. I'm not getting off this boat." All these things were happening. Like, it was just really weird. There were like really, well, at the moment it doesn't seem weird, and then when you look at it, you're like, "Oh, okay, this is a little bit weird." Like, this kind of makes sense as to why everything else happened. So, after the dinner, they went to the room and they changed out of their fancy clothes, and they ended up going to like this pool party, okay, on the deck. Now, everyone seemed to be there. There was like a limbo contest. Everybody was having fun. Everybody was dancing. It was like this good time, right? Brad ended up winning the limbo contest out of coincidence, but he ended up winning the limbo contest. And and so he won a crown. And he gave it to Amy and also had her wear it and stuff like that. So it was just like this really cool, cute moment.
Yeah, it doesn't sound suicidal.
Exactly. So they seemed like they were having a good time.
They get along. Yeah.
So after that, it was already around 1 a.m. when the pool party started, kind of ending. And Iva and Ron went to bed. So they were really tired. So they were like, "Oh, we're gonna head out." So they told Amy, "Okay, love you. Like, we'll see you tomorrow." All this stuff, right? They were just saying "I love you" to each other and saying bye, and they will see each other the next day. After the pool party, Amy and Brad ended up going to this basically club up at the top of the ship. And yeah, so they went to this club. They were dancing, still having a good time, drinking or whatever. At this time, Amy had went up and met somebody else, and Brad was at the bottom. So there was like this section at the top, and you can see it. It's like this balcony, and then Brad was at the bottom in the main area, I guess you can call it. So after that, everybody was, in their own way. Amy was doing her own thing with somebody, whoever it was at that moment, and then Brad was doing his own thing. Now, Brad, as soon as he felt like he was tired, this was around maybe 3 a.m. in the morning, he looked up at Amy where she was at the very top. She was dancing with somebody, and there was another girl there.
Lucky guy, huh?
Mm-hmm. And then he was like, "Hey," like basically waving at her and being like, "I'm about to head out." And then she's just waved back, and that was it, right?
Oh no, I would never leave her by herself.
And well, at this moment, nothing wrong was happening. But anyways, so
you
he
can't
goes.
Leave your sister by herself.
Oh no, definitely not. I mean, I don't agree with that either. I think that he should have stayed with her as well. But I guess it's different. I don't know. I guess they felt like, oh, it's on a cruise ship. Like, what's gonna happen? But anyways, so he goes out. He goes out on the deck, and he's just outside, just enjoying the fresh air, or whatever. And he's there for 30 minutes. Then he heads to the room where they all sleep in.
Brad.
Yes, Brad. And he goes in, and the keypad shows that he opened the door and went in, used his key or the card to go in at around 3:30 a.m. So he goes in there, and he goes outside to get some fresh air in the balcony. There's a little balcony in the room, and he sits there. Now, 5 minutes later, literally 5 minutes later, Amy, on the keypad, it shows that she opened the door with her key, with her card.
They all have individual keys?
They only have 2. So Amy had one, and then Brad had another one.
The parents didn't?
That's something that I don't know exactly how they did with what they did with the keys. How did they exchange it? That's something that was never talked about. Yeah, because
that key usage was labeled as Amy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was Amy. It was for sure Amy that walked in.
For sure Amy, okay.
So Amy walks into the room. she goes into the balcony with Brad. Now, they're sitting there, they're having a good time. They're still finishing up their drinks because it seems like they still had, like, their drinks. And they were sitting there and they were talking. Amy was smoking because she was a smoker, and they were just having a conversation. And she kind of mentioned something like, "Oh, I was dancing with somebody, but he tried to make a move on me and basically tried to touch my boobs." And so she basically denied, and she
got
pushed
that
him
elbow.
away. She denied and she pushed him away, and that was that. That she didn't really talk about anything else about the situation. It was just something that she did bring up. Now, they didn't talk for very long. Brad ends up calling it a night, and he tells Amy, "Hey, I'm about to go inside, and I'm gonna go to sleep." And then she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna chill out here because I don't feel good. I feel like I want to throw up, basically." Like, she had too many drinks. And he's like, "Okay." And so he goes inside. He tells her I love her, and he goes inside and goes to sleep. Now, around 5:30 in the morning, Ron, her dad, ends up waking up, and he's looking around. He obviously sees Brad in his bed. Now he looks outside and he sees Amy's legs on the chair, basically on the little resting chair outside, right? And he sees her legs. He
on the
sees
deck?
her sit, on the patio.
They had a little
They had a little patio outside,
yeah.
So they had chairs.
Okay.
They had 2 chairs. They had a little table. So she was sitting on one of the chairs, and he sees her legs from where he's at, and he's like, "Okay, she's probably just getting some fresh air," so he lets her be. He goes to sleep, and then something wakes him up, and he gets up around 6, and he looks outside again, and she's no longer there.
30 minutes?
30 minutes later, she's no longer there. The balcony door is open. Her yellow shirt that she was wearing is on the chair inside the room, and her shoes are outside. Her chanclas, her little Birkenstocks, I guess you can call them. But yeah, they were outside. Her cigarettes were gone though. So now they're like, "Oh, okay." The dad's like, Ron, he's like, "Okay, well, maybe she just went outside to get some coffee or something, like out in the what's it called, in the cruise ship, to get some coffee or something. Let me go see where she's at so I can look for her, and then I'll come back and get everybody." So he goes to look for her. An hour passes and he cannot find her. So then he comes back and he wakes everybody up, and he's like,
and this is while the cruise ship is on sale.
This is when on the cruise ship is about to dock. Literally, no, I think, okay, so he woke up at 6 a.m. The cruise ship was already docked in Curaçao, right? And so this is something that was a little bit weird because there was just a lot of things, and I'll explain it later. But yeah, so it already docked at that time, the ship in Curaçao, and that's when he wakes up. Now he's looking for Amy, and he can't find her for a whole hour. He cannot find her. Now he goes to the family. He tells Iva and Brad that he cannot find Amy. So then they start freaking out.
She's kidnapped. At this point, she's kidnapped. That's so sad. Imagine what she has to go through.
But anyways,
I'm gonna teach my girls to freaking fight like they're fucking savages.
But the thing is that Amy was a fighter.
No, I'm gonna teach them how to freaking fight until they die.
What happens when they get drugged?
Well, then freaking fucking punch anything that they need to punch and freaking go like helicopter.
Oh my god, baby.
Bruh, no, like you're going down like with a fight. You're not gonna let anybody do anything to you.
I mean, obviously.
But I get you.
But I
also,
think
the sedative drugs. I mean, at that point, if it's,
there's different scenarios. Like,
dang,
you can say that you can fight and try to get out of the situation as much as you can, but at the end of the day,
not get out. It's like die fighting. You're not getting out.
Yeah.
You're not getting out, but you're gonna die fighting.
That's so sad.
It's very sad, but the thing that eased me a little bit is when you talked about the sedative drugs. If she's seduced, she's not gonna suffer as much because it's a downer. She's gonna be relaxed.
I
So,
mean, but you don't know what they're doing, like.
yeah. So that's another thing that I was gonna say. So she's gonna be down, but then she's gonna be more relaxed, and it's gonna be probably like for years that she's gonna be trafficked.
I don't know. But yeah, so they couldn't
All
find her.
because of the freaking temptation of lust. Look at that. That's why I hate lust.
No, let's continue. You don't know the story yet, okay? So basically, yeah, so they couldn't find her this whole hour. They go inside the room, and Ron goes inside the room and tells Iva and Brad that he can't find Amy. And so they go and look around and all this stuff. And then for a few hours, they cannot find her, or a couple hours, they cannot find her. So during this time, they start, freaking out, and they want to talk to the staff of this cruise ship. Now they tell the staff, hey, we can't find our daughter. Can you please announce something in the intercoms that, our daughter is missing? If they see this person, to please, contact us and report it, right? But this was around 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, right? The staff ended up telling the Bradley family, oh, we're not going to do that. That's too early. It's just too early. It's going to freak out everybody on the ship.
Yes, good.
So we're not going to do that. So they don't do it. And they were like, look, keep looking for your daughter. And if you still can't find her, come back.
I would have freaking, look, do it now or I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
That's what made me mad. It's like, who cares about other people? But the thing is that they were more concerned.
Why you be telling me these stories?
They were more concerned about the money. So they were more concerned about, they were like, oh, well, thousands of people pay this much money. We're not going to do anything, right?
Verga. Someone's get their ass beat. If somebody tells me that. Yeah,
so that was a situation with the cruise ship and the staff. Now the staff was like, look for your daughter, keep looking for your daughter. If you still can't find her in an hour and a half, then come back and I'll call security or whatever. So they still couldn't find her. They go back and they tell them, hey, we still can't find Amy. And they ended up, doing a little like announcement.
Intercom?
Yeah.
How many hours after?
Well, he said to keep looking for her an hour and a half.
So it's 6:30 that he woke up. 30 minutes that he went to go look for her.
An hour
that the dad went to go look for her. And then he went to the staff. And then an hour later, so it's already 8.
An hour and a half. Yes.
8:30 they announced.
So then they announce it.
She long gone.
And then hold on. They announced it. They announced it at that time, and everybody, they're starting to gather everybody so they can start letting them out of the ship. And then the family goes, you cannot let anybody out. Nobody can get off the ship until I find my daughter. And they were like, we're not stopping everybody else's trip.
Oh my God. I would beat the shit out of that guy.
Just because your daughter is missing. I'm sorry, thousands of people paid so much money, and we're not going to ruin their
oh
time.
My God. Can I file a lawsuit against him?
I don't even know if they did. I hope they did. Like, it's just because it's so, like, unconsiderate. You're not thinking about the family. If that was your daughter, how would you feel? Like, and they're telling you, oh, no, we cannot do that. People paid thousands of money. Okay, who cares? My daughter is missing.
What cruise ship line was this?
It was the Caribbean. What was it? The Caribbean cruise ship Rhapsody of the Seas. Royal Caribbean.
Never ride on Caribbean. Cancel Caribbean. Freaking shut down the company until they find Amy. If they find Amy, they go above and beyond. Then go on freaking, what was it called? Caribbean.
Royal Caribbean. Yeah.
Royal fucking Caribbean.
Yeah, so that to me made me upset at the fact that they were not being considerate of this family's feelings.
a-
And what made me more upset about the situation
by his feet.
and then the reaction that they had, or that this person had specifically. I was watching the documentary series, and the guy that basically was the face of the cruise ship, he's the one that's, doing
Directs everything.
Yeah. So he's the face of the cruise ship, and he came out on the documentary series, and he was saying those things. He was like, well, like, it was just, he's like, it's not our fault that they lost their daughter.
Ooh.
That, we have thousands of people on this cruise ship, and they need to be taken care of, and they paid thousands of money. So we're not going to be stopping a cruise ship just because you lost your daughter.
I forgive him. As a Christian, I forgive him.
That to me really made me
God,
mad. The way he was reacting the whole entire time on that documentary really made me mad. I did not like that guy. And I was like, you're a horrible human being if you do not care that somebody's daughter is gone. They obviously look like scared and concerned. So why would you say those things? Those are inconsiderate.
Man, he should be investigated.
So that's another thing, and I'll tell you in a second. But he ends up hearing the announcement. He hears the announcement, the guy of the face. I don't even want to say his name because he's irrelevant.
Say his name so everybody can hate him.
He's on a documentary series. But he hears the intercom, and he hears that basically what they said was that if would Amy Bradley please contact the purser's desk, and that was the only thing that was said in the intercom. Now like I said, the parents told them that they needed to not let anybody out until they found their daughter, and so they didn't do that, and they let everybody out. The thing is that this ship there was 10 decks, and the ship was about 1,000 feet long. How the heck are they going to be able to find their daughter? There was about over 2,000, 3,000, around that amount of people on this cruise ship. How are they going to find their daughter? So they let everybody out, and then they lost a little bit of hope because they were like, now she could be in there. Somebody could have taken her, and she could now be in the island, and we don't know. So as soon as that happened, as soon as they let everybody out, around 9 in the morning, the staff decided to do a Charlie drill. Basically, it's a search of the ship. While everybody is gone already, what do you need to search the ship now? Anyways, sorry. So they check every drawer, closet, room, etc. This takes up to 45 to an hour to do. And there's 800 people searching. So 800 staff members searching the whole ship at this time.
Gosh.
Now, for the search...
Are you serious? Like, was it how 30 minutes after everybody left?
They already let everybody out of the ship. So it's like, why would you even do a search at this point? They're all gone. But I guess at this time, like, people they were not thinking about, like, getting kidnapped. I don't know. I don't know what the thought process was, but whatever. They do this whole search, and the security guard tells the Bradley family to go to their room and to wait until this whole search is being done. Now, technically, they didn't really see them searching. They didn't see it. They were in their room. They told them to stay in their room. So, did they search? Did they not? We don't know. So, that's something that they did say. And the captain comes in later on and tells them that they didn't find anything. And the staff, basically, the people that work there basically thought, oh, she probably jumped. She probably jumped off the cruise ship. So it's like, why are you assuming that? Like, I don't know. But they assume that she fell off or jumped off the boat or the ship. And then they ended up telling the local police of Curaçao that she possibly could have jumped or fell off the ship. Now, the police at Curaçao said, okay, if she jumped off the ship, then her remains have to wash ashore, and we could definitely find her because of how the
currents go, the
yeah,
waves, yeah.
yes, the waves are going. They're gonna be pushing her. Her body's gonna be pushed to the ashore. Um, and they were like, "We'll find her, babe, if she did fall or if she did jump. We'll find her in a day." A day passes, nothing washes ashore, and they said, "Okay, there's sharks here. If a shark got her,
Sharks don't eat humans.
no, wait. If a shark got her and say bit her or something, and tore her into pieces, something is gonna wash ashore." And nothing did. So the police was like, "No, she didn't fall. She did not fall. She did not jump because her body would have washed ashore." So that's
Who
to
said that?
them.
The staff said
The
the shark?
staffs, no. The police were saying that, basically saying like, okay, insinuating that if anything happened, no matter what, say like she only her arms are there for some reason, it's gonna wash ashore no matter what. So nothing did. So they think that she didn't fall. She didn't jump. So she's not in the water.
It's not suicidal then.
That's what the police was saying, right? But the cruise ship was like, nah, she jumped. She jumped, whatever.
Yeah, that's sketchy as hell.
Yeah. So this was the biggest search they ever had. So they searched
What do you
from
mean, who ever had?
that area, Curacao and Aruba. So this is one of the
Ever?
biggest searches. Yeah, one of the biggest searches at that time
Freaking idiots.
ever.
If they would have done it before the freaking everybody left, bruh, they should have got something, bruh. They need to get punished.
They were more focused about the money, because if they
The
would have scared
satisfaction of the
something,
clients.
yeah, because they would have scared someone, or they would have scared the clients,
Vale
and nobody would
verga.
want to get on the cruise ship, or they would just get scared, and the whole cruise ship trip is ruined or whatever, right?
Now guess what? Nobody's gonna get on freaking Royal Dumbass Caribbean.
Yeah. But so this was the biggest search they ever had. It was from Curacao to Aruba, and the Marines, Venezuelan Coast Guards, Navy, etc., were looking all around that area, mostly in the water, because that's what they assumed that happened, and that's what they were told. Now, like I said, nothing washed ashore. The ship ended up continuing its cruise, and this was around 5 to 6 p.m. The family ended up staying in Curacao, and they, kept doing the search or whatever. Now, word got to America. So everybody was starting to find out about Amy Bradley and this whole situation. Obviously, they weren't in America at that time, so the fact that it was getting to America, that means everybody around the world is wanting to search. Every news channel, there was talks about Amy Bradley and who she was. All her friends started seeing that she was missing, and they were like, "What the heck is going on?" So safety and security was basically in the security crew's hands. So there wasn't a lot of security on this cruise ship. Now in 2025, there's more security now on cruise ships everywhere that you go, right? But back at that time in 1998, there wasn't a lot of security,
I guess because
Basically,
2021, 2000,
2001,
2001 changed a
yes,
lot of things.
it did. So this was obviously before 2001. So a lot of it was very, like, it was very lawless, if that makes sense. Especially if you're not in America, it was very lawless. There was not much security at all. And the security itself on the cruise ship was hired by the cruise line. And at that time, they didn't really do any investigations. They didn't really, all they asked for was IDs. They didn't ask for any background. They didn't ask for any of that. So that's how it was back in those times, right? Now you think about it, you're like, oh my God, that's crazy. It's because now we have all those things. Now it's more of a concern. But also the problem here is that you're now 1,000 miles away from the US investigators. So at that time, it's like, you don't really have anybody to reach out to. You don't really have anybody to be like, you can't call 911, It's just, it's only,
You're in
it only
foreign
falls,
territory.
it only falls on the security crew, which is
Terrible.
not good. So, also, another thing is that the security on the cruise ship was more focused on fire drills and fire safety and emergency drills than preventing passengers from crimes or disappearance. So they were more concerned about the boat basically falling apart than someone
Titanic.
than someone dying or something. FBI ended up boarding the ship on March 26th. She went missing on March 24th. And March 26th, the FBI gets on the cruise ship. And this is in St. Martin, late in the afternoon. Okay. They went to the room where Amy and her family slept in, and the whole room was cleaned. They cleaned it, like the cruise ship cleaned the room. So there was really no evidence that they could find. The only thing that they saw was the fact that the table was closer to the glass door, and that the chairs were a little bit arranged like differently, and that her shoes were neatly placed next to the table. That was the only thing that they could find. Her shirt was still there, the yellow shirt was still there on the chair. So there was really nothing that they could get out of that room. And the thing is that they were a little bit confused, because it's like, why didn't you close the room when it could have been a potential crime scene? So the cruise ship didn't close the room, left it open, and they ended up coming to clean it and left everything else there. Now, the parents talked to the FBI. The only thing that they could tell them is obviously the things that I told you. That the fact that the dad, Ron, was the last person to see Amy. And he ended up getting up at 6 or 5 and 5:30 in the morning, saw her there outside. Then at 6, she was gone. So the only evidence that they could have during that time to be sure that she came into the room at that time, or whatever it is, was the key cards, the electric records of the key cards, the keypads. And so the only thing that you can see in those records is the times that the times that people go in, but never the times that they go out. So you only can see when they go in. So you can't see when they come out. So they could not tell if she left the room or she was still in the room, because obviously it doesn't show that in the records. Does that make sense? So it did show that she went into the room by 3:40 in the morning. That was the only true fact that they had. And they were able to look at the security cameras, but there was only cameras in the more common areas. There was no cameras in the hallways. It was just in the common areas where mostly people are at. So technically, they didn't have anything else but the key cards because they looked at those security cameras and they could not find anything of her. So the one thing that they were more focused on is that at 5:30 in the morning to 6 a.m., that was that middle piece right there. They don't know what happened. They don't know anything at that time. 30 minutes. 30 minutes is a very long time, to be honest, when you're thinking about it. It's a very long time. And so they don't have any information in that middle timeline. Does that make sense? So she was last seen at 5:30 in the morning, and then she was now missing at 6 a.m. So they need to figure the middle part out. Now, this man, he worked for a tech company, and he was on this cruise ship. Now, he had his people...
Tech company?
Yeah, this tech company. And he was on this cruise ship, and he was working on this project, and he had to take videos and all this stuff. So he had his people basically record the parties, record the
basically
things
like
on the
promotion.
cruise ship. Yeah. So he had his people. He remembered that he had his people at the party where Amy and Brad was at. Now, the only reason why he wanted to look at these footage or wanted to look back at it was because he sees that the flyers of Amy, and he was like, okay, I have this footage of the party. Let me look back to see if she's on there. Now, he's looking through the footage. He's looking through everything. And then one of the footage, he sees her. She's literally right there in front of the camera, dancing with another man. This man was Yellow, is what they call him. He was the bass player of the band of the cruise ship. And he was dancing with Amy that night. And that was the first clue, right? So when he's looking at the footage that he has, when he's looking back at it, he gets a phone call out of nowhere. And he gets a phone call, and they state, I'm the head of the security, or I'm the head of the security. I'm gonna need your footage so we can look, through it, and then we can see if we can find Amy in those footages. And the guy was like, why are they calling me? Like, the cruise ship knew that he had his people recording and filming or whatever. So he's like, no, I don't give out my footage to anybody. And he just hangs up the phone. He doesn't give it to them. He's like, it was just weird that they called me. So he's like, so I grabbed the footage, I made a copy, and I took it personally to the FBI.
There you go. I fuck with that guy. Who's that guy? Let's promote his business.
I didn't write his name.
Technician development, that's his business. Let's promote him. Go, he's getting a 50% discount.
He was one of the people that talked on the Netflix documentary. So he did an interview with them. He said that. So yeah, it was really weird that supposedly the security guard or the security head of security of the cruise ship calls him and wants his footage. For what? Whatever. But that happened. He takes it to FBI himself, and they have the footage now. Now, 2 girls that night ended up seeing Amy around that time. Now,
the party time, 3:30?
No. So they ended up seeing Amy around supposedly 5 to 6 a.m. These 2 girls were at the deck, and they supposedly saw Amy around 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., right? They say that they saw Amy with Yellow, which Yellow is the bass player of the band. So they said that they saw Yellow and Amy going up the elevator to the top where the club was at, right? But at that time, the club was closed. So they were thinking, oh, okay, well, that's kind of weird. But they went, and then They saw them get out of the elevator, and that was that. Then 15 minutes later pass, and they see Yellow coming from the front of the boat. So in the area of the club, but now at the bottom where the deck is at. So they see him come, and he passes the two girls. Now for them, it caught their eye without Amy, by himself at this time. Now it kind of caught their eye.
Attention.
Yes, because he was very flirty with them when they were in the club, because they were also at the club. Now they were like 15 years old. They were really young. So he was very flirty, trying to like dance with them, trying to get them to talk to him and all this stuff. So the fact that he just walked past them and didn't say anything to them felt weird, because he was very like wanting to talk to them.
Yeah.
So now you don't want to talk to me? Like, it was just...
It was serious.
Yeah, it was just weird.
The adrenaline was pumping. Tunnel vision. His adrenaline was pumping. I mean, he's doing something bad.
They don't know that, but yes.
Yes, but him. That's why he's doing that.
Yeah. So he walked past them and didn't say a word. Now, another thing that caught their eye was the fact that Amy is not with him anymore when Amy was with them at that time. Okay. So the only problem with this situation, because they told FBI about the situation that they saw Amy in Yellow. The only problem with this is that when they went, you know how they can see the records of the keypads?
Mm-hmm.
When they went back to the room, they didn't have that record because they just knocked on the door and the parents opened the door. So they forgot their key, their car key. So they can't, the two girls. And when they went to the room, like I said, there's records of the keypad. So if you open the door with your keypad, with your key card.
What were those 15-year-olds doing at the pool at 6 in the morning?
They were just chilling. There was just two girls. They were just chilling. And they wanted to get some fresh air. They didn't want to go to sleep. 6
in the morning? What parents are going to let their kids in 6 in the morning?
I don't know, maybe it was different times. But as soon as they go to their room, they forget their key card. So they knocked on the door, and then the parents open up, and then they go in. There's no record of what time they went in, but they're saying that they went in at 5:30 in the morning. So there's no evidence. There's no evidence there that they saw Yellow. It's only word of mouth. So they don't really have anything yet, FBI, to really be like, okay, well, let's investigate him, right?
Bro, they should ask him, at least question him.
So they ended up questioning him like a little bit later. And he took a polygraph test and he passed it. And that was that. They let him go. There was no other evidence. But we'll continue and we'll talk about it. Everyone that encountered Yellow basically said that he was very flirty. He was like this person that was just loved to talk to people, loved to talk to girls, was very flirty, was just his thing. That was his thing, right? And like I said, they interviewed him. He admitted he knew Amy and did hang out with her, but and did flirt with her. But he says that there was nothing, that he did with her disappearance. He saw her, the last moment that he saw her was at 1 a.m. and that was that. Like, he didn't see her after that. That's what he says, right? When he's, being interviewed, they did check the records when he clocked into his room, or whatever. But when he went into his room, and it does state that he went in at 3:30 in the morning, not at 1 when he said that he went to his room at 1. So that was just a little bit.
And he passed his lie detector?
Yes. The only thing that they realized was that, and then also the fact that he was very bothered in the interview. Like, if it was something, like if he was being very defensive when they were like saying like, did you have anything to do with it? All this stuff. So he was being very defensive and being very weird. And but they still had no concrete evidence to arrest him, so they let him go. Many questions they didn't have answers to. The FBI had this whole section literally empty. There was just so many questions, so many outcomes, so many situations that could have happened, and they don't know any of it because there's no security cameras, there's no the records of the keypads when they come out of the room, there's nothing. There's just word of mouth, and they need evidence to arrest someone. So that happens, right? On March 27th, the family ends up flying home from St. Thomas. They ended up flying home on March 27th. As soon as they get home, they start a command center. They start reaching out to every authority they could think of to try to help them find Amy. And they still had faith. They still had hope that they would find her. So people kept reaching out to them, kept saying that they saw her, kept saying that she's there, she's here, whatever, right? So they kept reaching out to the Bradley family. Now, there's one situation on April 17th, 1998. So just like a couple of weeks after she went missing. The Bradley family went back to Willemstad, Curaçao, which is where she went missing. And they went back to have a press conference. Now, at this press conference, they were stating like, okay, we have a 260,000 reward. Like, if you could please let her, leave her somewhere, leave her blindfolded. We won't say anything else. Like, just leave her somewhere and we'll get her. And that's all we need. That's all we want. But yeah, so that's what they were saying on this little conference thing. Now, as soon as they were going around, kind of putting out flyers of Amy's face so that everybody in that little town could see who Amy was and see that she was missing and see if anybody has seen her. When they were doing that, some man comes up to them, which his name was Desi. He was a taxi driver. And he has the flyer in his hand and he looks at Ron. So Ron and Brad are the only people that go back to Curaçao. And they're the ones that are, putting out the flyers. And this taxi driver goes up to Ron and he says, "Hey, is this your daughter that's missing? Are you the father of the daughter of the girl that's missing?" And he's like, "Yes." And he's like, "Oh, I just want to let you know, your daughter didn't fall. Your daughter didn't jump off that ship. Your daughter is somewhere here on this island. And I really hope you can find her." And Ron says that his heart just dropped. And then the taxi driver says, "She came up to me on that day, March 24th. She knocked on my window of my taxi and she asked me if she could use a phone or she needed a phone." And he kind of pointed at the direction of where the phone, the phone, what are they called? The phone booths. The phone booths where they were at. He pointed in the direction. And he says she went the opposite way. She didn't go the way that he told her. She went the opposite. And that was that. And that she was wearing these blue jeans and a white shirt, which is what she was wearing underneath the yellow shirt that she wore that night on the 23rd. So the taxi driver told Ron, "You need to go to Coral Cliffs and Kadushi Cliffs and look around and don't talk to anybody. Just look around." So they ended up telling, police because they were working with them in Curaçao. And they told the police, and the police was like, "You can't go there by yourself, so we're going to go with you." Because that area is a little dangerous. And that area supposedly is just, it's not a tourist area at all. You have to know that place. You have to be from there to know that place. So they go and they drive over there, but nothing was found. And then on their way back, it was now nighttime. They were driving on this road. Now this road is very narrow. It's very tiny. It only barely fits 2 cars. As soon as they're driving, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. They don't see anything. There's a car that comes past them. Brad hears someone call his name, and it sounded just like Amy, he says. He's like, my heart dropped. He's like, because the way Amy says my name and calls my name, it's very distinctive. Like, and that's what I heard. And he's like, and then he's like, it came from the car that came past, like went past us. So he's like, I asked everybody in the car, like, did you hear that? And they were all like, yeah. And they immediately turn around and start following the car that went past him. The car ends up pulling over, and it was just one man by himself. So he was thinking the whole entire time, Brad was thinking, oh, like, we're going to get to this car, and she's going to be in that car. Like, she's going to be in that car. It was just a man alone. So he's like, I don't know how to explain that, but I distinctively heard Amy's voice calling my name, and I asked everybody, and everyone else heard it.
She's probably dead.
So it was really weird. But anyways, that happened, right? And that was around 1 in the morning. Now, there was another time on August 1998.
August?
Yes. 6 months after she was missing, or after she went missing. She was spotted in Puerto Marie in Curaçao. This area is not a very touristy area, so it was really weird that this person spotted her there. But anyways, this man was scuba diving with his friend in this area, and now he was, they were already there. They already scuba dived or whatever, and now they're washing their gear. Now, while they're washing their gear, he sees these 3 people. So it's these 2 guys and this 1 girl. The girl is in the middle. And they're walking kind of towards him, and the girl's like, she notices that he can speak English because he's talking to his friend, and I guess she realizes that he can speak English, so she's like kind of speed walking, trying to get a little bit like get some distance from the 2 men. And so she's speed walking, and she gets to the guy, and she's about to say something, but then one of the guys pulls him, kind of stares at the guy that was scuba diving, stares at him, and then pulls the girl away, and then pushes her into a cafe. Now, one thing that he did notice is this tattoo on the back of her shoulder. This tattoo was a Tasmanian devil. She had a tattoo on her ankle, and she had a few other tattoos. So this tattoo,
What does a Tasmanian devil look like?
It's like this character from from like a show. He has like, and then the Tasmanian devil has like a little basketball in his hand. But it's a very distinctive tattoo, and Amy had that tattoo. Yes. Amy had that tattoo on the back of her shoulder. And that was exactly where this tattoo was. So he was very concerned at the fact that she was being pulled away, and these 2 men were with her, and she seemed scared. But he didn't do anything at that time. He just thought it was strange, right? The family ends up contacting America's Most Wanted. And on December 5th, the guy that saw her that day, the guy that was scuba diving, that saw her that day in Puerto Marie, he saw the episode of the America's Most Wanted and saw her and was like, that's the girl. That's the girl I saw.
How long after he was scuba diving?
So he scuba dived in August, and December 5th is when he saw that episode. So a few months later.
6 months later.
Less.
4.
Mm-hmm. So he sees this episode, and he's like, oh my God, that was her. That's the girl I saw with these 2 guys. And then they show in the episode, Yellow, the bass player of the band. He's like, that's the guy that pulled her. That's the guy that pulled her into the cafe. He immediately calls the parents, and he tells them what he saw. And he says this girl had this Tasmanian tattoo, has a tattoo on her ankle. So they were like, that's her. That's her. People stated that there was no way that she was kidnapped because it's like, she could put up a fight. Like I said, she was a fighter. She was in basketball. She knew how to, she was very strong, if that makes sense. She was just very strong. So there was no way that they could have
But
just taken
it's
her like
men.
that. So, I mean, yes. But, and then the only thing that they can think of is like, she was very tiny though. So they could have drugged her and then put her in a suitcase. Maybe that's how people
She was a
didn't see her.
basketball player and she was tiny.
She was a basketball player, but she was tiny and skinny. So they could have put her in a suitcase if they needed to. So maybe that's how they got her out of the cruise ship.
It was the staff. The staff, the drum players and all that stuff, they have huge suitcases. You could put a whole human in there.
Exactly. So that could have been how they took her. But anyways, there was another sighting of her on January 1999. Bill Hefner, he was a Navy, it was a person in the Navy, and he was in the Navy for 20 years, and he spotted Amy in a bar / hotel. It kind of seems like if it was a brothel, but it wasn't. Yeah, a brothel is basically where they go and have like prostitutes, stuff like that. So it kind of seemed like it was a brothel because there was a hotel at the top and then the bar was at the bottom, but it was never confirmed if it was a brothel. It ended up burning down in 2000. But anyways, we'll get to that. So
Amy did that.
Burn it down? I don't know. But anyways, so he was on the USS Chandler. So this is the Navy SEAL, the boat that they were on or whatever. It pulled over into Curaçao. So it was just for a night. They were going to be there. And he went to this bar, and 4 people ended up coming down the stairs. When he went in, 4 people ended up coming down the stairs. Now, supposedly it was 2 girls and 2 guys. Now, the 2 guys ended up going to the bar, and the 2 girls ended up sitting at a table. What's his name? Bill ended up approaching these 2 girls, ended up sitting with them, and it was a Hispanic girl and a Caucasian girl. And they're just having a conversation or whatever. The Hispanic girl ends up getting up and going to the bar. Now, while this happens, the Caucasian girl immediately turns around, tells Bill, I'm being held against my will and I need your help. They supposedly, I owe them $200 and I need help. Like, my name is Amy Bradley. Can you please help me? And he made me mad too because this was also in the interview. But he was like, I've been in this field for way too many years. There's a lot of people, a lot of girls that come up to me or come up to people and say these type of things just so they can get money and all this stuff. But supposedly this guy, Bill, he says that she states that she ended up getting off the ship on her own because she wanted to find some drugs. And
she told him that?
Yeah, supposedly. That's what he said. And that she said that she got stuck with them and now she can't leave. I don't believe that. I don't believe that she got off to get some drugs because, first of all, when that situation happened at the dinner, when the mom was like, oh, somebody invited you to go to the bar, she's like, no, I'm not getting off the ship. Like, it doesn't seem like she was that type of person. She obviously was aware of like the things that was going on, you know. It didn't seem like she wanted to get off the boat for those type of things. But anyways, he didn't do anything. He ended up leaving and left it like that. And he said that he didn't want to do anything because he didn't want to get reported because he wasn't supposed to be at that bar. That bar was not known, did not have a good reputation, and the fact that he as a person in the Navy was at that bar, he would have gotten in trouble, and he was already like I think a year or 2 years before he was gonna retire, and they were gonna lower his retirement fund or whatever. And like I said, that hotel, bar, whatever it is, ended up burning it down in 2000s, and it didn't make sense to the family, the fact that she ended up getting off the boat to get drugs. Like, it didn't make sense to them. So they were like, that's just stupid. Amy was not a person to, and even the brother was like, she was not that type of person.
Yeah.
So so it was just really weird. But anyways, the family started remembering the weird things on this ship. So like I said, the waiter flirting with her. There was also this man that was staring at them multiple times. It wasn't just this one day, but it was multiple days that they were staring down from the top deck down to the bottom deck where they were at outside or whatever. And this moment, Iva, which is the mom of Amy, notices this time, and Iva and Amy notices. And they look up, and Amy is doing her own thing or whatever. And then Iva's like, basically looking at him. He's like, "What do you want? Like, what's up?" And she ends up looking down, grabbing her bag. She looks back up, and he's gone. So there was this moment that she felt like it was really weird at that time. There was another time after the fancy dinner, after they got their picture taken, they went to go to the gallery to go take get their picture. Now, when they get to the gallery, the main guy, the one that is in charge of the pictures and selling them or whatever, he's like, "Oh yeah, I know where your picture's at," to Amy. And they go and they look, and it's not there anymore. He was like, "I know it was right here. I saw it." He's like, "None of your family members came to get your picture?" And they were like, "No." And hers was missing.
It was the staff.
Her picture was missing, and the mom Iva was like, "Can we retake those pictures?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course." So they did. So her picture, Amy's picture specifically, was gone. So that was really weird. So those are the moments that they noticed on this boat. That was just very odd and kind of made sense to now the kidnapped. So like they think that they were focused on her. They already knew who they wanted, and they were coming to get her. Around 1999, I don't know the specific month, but there was this man named Frank Jones. He claimed to be a former U.S. Army Special Forces officer with a team of ex-Rangers and Navy SEALs. Now, he went to the Bradley family and stated that he knows where Amy Bradley is, and that he could 100% get her.
Retrieve her.
Yeah, for them. And so he supposedly knew that this resident from Curaçao named Judith Margarita that claimed that Amy was being held in a guarded barbed wire complex. And then also provided details of her tattoos, and then also a lullaby that Amy's mom, Iva, used to sing to her. Okay, so obviously they were like, let's hire this man. So they hired him, and Jones ended up stating that she was held in a very armed complex, and she was seen with a man with a bunch of tattoos, basically a tattoo sleeve, and blonde hair. And he went as far as staging a whole picture of her, basically having somebody stage being her. But this was all false. He was not telling the truth, and he just wanted to get money out of them. And he was later sentenced to jail for 5 years in 2002 and was charged with mail fraud and pleaded guilty. He ended up taking a total of $210,000 from the Bradley family just so they can find their
Did the
daughter.
Bradley family get that money back?
Yeah. So they ended up getting $24,000 out of their pocket to give to him, and then also the $186,000 from the fund set up for Amy's search by the nation's mission missing children organization. So that money that they were saving to find Amy, they gave it to a man that betrayed them just so they can find Amy. So they lost all that, but they ended up getting it. Obviously, it took a while, but yeah, so they went to court and everything. There was another sighting of Amy in San Francisco on April 18th, 2003. I'm sorry. A couple stopped to listen to a street band not far from Alcatraz's tour. So 20 other people gathered around to listen to this band, and they saw a woman and two men. Now this woman felt, or it seemed like she was being like she wasn't feeling, like she was uncomfortable, if that makes sense. The couple states, right? And then they see one of the mans give the girl change, and basically telling her, like, give the band this change for them playing. And so she does, and as soon as she does, the two men notice the couple looking at them. Now this couple realized that it was Amy Bradley, because Amy Bradley was all over the news at that time. So when they saw her, they were like, oh my God, that's Amy Bradley. And the men noticed that they were staring too long, the couple, and they noticed that they recognized her, and they grabbed her, took her, and they disappeared into the crowd. So the couples didn't see anything. They reported that, and they basically did a sketch of the two men that were with her. So there was one man. This was the first man. He was a large man who appeared to be in charge. He was very controlling, and he had a large round stomach. And this other man, he had wavy shoulder length hair, possibly foreign, with dark complexion, and then possibly maybe from the South America or the Caribbean. The first man, he was spotted to possibly resemble this man that owns this yacht company. I'll explain. This is him. He kind of does look like the picture. Does he not?
Yeah.
This is also him. He owns this affordable adult vacation yacht thing. So it's like a total satisfaction yacht, if you are picking up what I'm telling you. But he owns this yacht. He's the owner, and he's in charge of this. And so basically, he has these women come on this yacht, and whoever wants to else get on the yacht. I found the website, or there's a website that was being shown of this adult vacation getaway of the yacht. And it basically states, are you ready to relax and enjoy the most erotic luxury cruise vacation located in the erotic Margarita Island? Cruise aboard your very own private 52-foot yacht through the warm, crystal clear blue waters of Venezuela. Your day will include a cruise to a local island where you can enjoy some time on the sensual beach with your companion or companions, catering to every want and desire. Now, this whole yacht is basically to yourself, and you have a full kitchen. You have your own chef. So you can choose whichever girl you want to be on the yacht with you for $250 per day. Keep that in mind, please, because that is very important. And also the place that it's Margarita Island in Venezuela. Keep that in mind.
Venezuela?
Yes.
They're gone from the other island?
One thing that I did realize, or that I did learn, is that when you're being sex trafficked, because that's what people are assuming, that she's being sex trafficked, they don't stay in one place. They jump around in places, because then they can get caught easily if they stay in one place. Does that make sense? So it's possible that she could be here, But anyways, that was a man that's in charge of this yacht, and that's the experience that you will have on this yacht. Keep that in mind of the location. Now, on March 1st, 2005, in Bridgetown, Barbados. This woman encountered Amy in the bathroom. Amy was with 4 handlers, quote unquote, and was in a stall. The girl was in a stall, and she heard Amy and these 4 men. These 4 men went in the woman's bathroom, but they didn't realize that this girl was in the stall. So they were having this conversation with Amy, quote unquote Amy, and they were like saying, the deal is at 11. We have to be there. No ifs, ands, or buts, right? And Amy was like, well, can we see the kids first? So people are thinking that she probably has kids. But anyways, so that happened. Then the girl comes out of the stall as soon as the men leave from the bathroom. Amy is at the sink washing her hands. The girl comes behind her and tries to wash her hands as well. And I'm assuming maybe there's 2 sinks. And then the girl asks Amy, "Oh, are you from here?" And she goes, "No," but she just shakes her head. And then the girl goes, well, are you visiting? Are you on vacation? And Amy goes, "No." And then she goes, "Oh, well, where are you from?" And then she
The
thinks she
guys are
heard,
there?
no, they're outside now. They're not in the bathroom anymore. And the girl's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And then Amy goes, well, at least the girl thinks that she says West Virginia. And then the girl says, "Oh, I'm from there." And then she goes, "What's your name?" And then she says, "My name is Amy." And then she goes, "Oh, I have a daughter named Amy, and I'm from West Virginia." And then Amy turns around, looks at her like if she was going to say something. And then the girl was like, "Okay, bye, I got to go." And so she leaves, and the men are standing right outside the door. And she plays like dumb, and she plays tourist, like a tourist. And she's like, "Oh, excuse me, I need to get out," or whatever. And she gets out. And Amy is her back is facing the door. So that was the whole encounter on that situation. So she ends up going to FBI, and she states this whole encounter with Amy. They sketch her out. This is the sketch. That looks like her.
Yeah.
I would assume. That looks like her, and that could have been her. This was supposedly the guy that she was with that day. One of the guys, because obviously there was 4. But this was one of the guys. I guess she remembered him. I'm not 100% sure, but she did see them around the area where they were at, not just in the bathroom. So those were the 2 sketches that they sketched of that day. Now, there was many emails that the Bradley family was receiving at that time. And they were telling them, "Oh, Amy, I saw Amy here," or "Amy is buried in this location," or "Amy is in Venezuela." So it was just a lot of things that people were saying, right? There was one specific email that caught their eye in 2005. It was sent anonymously, and it was photos of Amy from an escort resort in Margarita Island, Venezuela. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
From the yacht.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the resort was known as an affordable adult vacation. That's exactly what the yacht is for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they sent these pictures. These are the pictures that was sent to them. Obviously, it's blurred out.
Mm-hmm.
But that looks exactly like the sketch.
Yes, it does.
And so they gave these pictures to FBI. FBI now put pictures of Amy herself before she went missing, and then these pictures that were sent to them. Now, these were the pictures that they put together. Now, this was in 2005, right? So she could have changed a lot. She went missing in 1998. In 2005, you can definitely change. Your features can definitely change. So she's possibly in her 30s now, early 30s, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
she was 23 when she went missing, so she was 30.
30.
So that could be her, and it looks like her. Like, it looks like Amy. So when they saw these pictures, they went to the show Dr. Phil to kind of release it out more and to kind of get more attention. But still nothing came about. And what makes me kind of upset is the fact that the FBI didn't even try to go and book a day with her to get her or to see her or something, you know? They didn't do that. But still, it was just like, I don't know, it was just a lot. It was a lot of questions that I had. In the Netflix series, the daughter of Yellow, which is, his real name is Alistair Douglas. The daughter of Yellow ends up coming out and speaking about Amy. She reaches out to the Bradley family and she says, hey, I have some information that I want to give to you. They still think that he's a suspect and thinks that he's the one that took her. So that's why I'm talking about him again. But on April 2017, Amika Douglas contacted the family, the Bradley family, and stated that one day from a cruise ship, I don't know if it's specifically this cruise ship, specifically the one that Amy was on. This was before that Amika was born. So he was on this cruise ship, and supposedly her mom saw, when he came back home, saw that he came with a bag. Now, in this bag, when he went to the bathroom or to take a shower or whatever, she went to look in it, the mom of Amika, the wife of Yellow. She went to look in the bag, and there was a bunch of pictures of girls, Caucasian girls, in his bag. Now, the one thing that comes to mind is that picture that went missing of Amy Bradley. Did he have that picture? We don't know. But they do know that there was a bunch of pictures in this bag of Caucasian women, and the mom.
So it was probably more kidnapped.
Possibly.
From that cruise ship that nobody knew about.
Maybe.
Or not much awareness was brought to them.
Maybe. But that was really weird, and that caught her eye, and they ended up getting a divorce. Now, on this episode, or on this documentary series, Amika ends up calling her dad on the documentary in live, basically, and starts asking him that what is this thing about this girl, like, did you have anything to do with Amy and all this stuff? And he was like, she was like, they are saying that you were at a beach with her, and he's like, I don't even like beaches. Anyways, he's like, I don't even like beaches. He's like, I left the club at 1 a.m. and we went to the room. He says that he would do anything if his daughter went missing, so he understands, or if she went missing, so he understands how the family feels, but he did not do anything to Amy Bradley. And so the girl was like, well, there's just so many questions that I just do not understand. There's so many missing parts of this story. And to me, it just seems like my father is not being honest. And she's like, I'm just thinking about my daughter, because she has a daughter as well. She's like, I'm just thinking about my daughter. And it's like, it doesn't make sense as to why he doesn't want to say anything, because it seems like something is up. Since that day, since she's spoken to him, she hasn't talked to him or seen him since the documentary series. So yeah, so he said that he had nothing to do with it. According to the investigators, the keypad says that he went into his room at 3:30 in the morning, approximately around there, right? And he's saying that he went into the room at 1 a.m. Now, there is an interview of Yellow, and this man from this YouTube channel named True Crime This Week, he went to have this interview with Yellow and basically talking to him about this whole situation. Now, supposedly at that time, he is now an exorcist. So in this interview, he supposedly was telling him like the whole day. So she supposedly came up to Yellow, telling him how good he was playing in the show, because he was playing in this show of Dancing with the Stars. It was like this little thing that they did at the cruise ship, and he was playing there, and supposedly Amy went up to him and was like, oh my God, you did so good, or whatever, right?
And I remember her clearly coming across when we finished playing, and came across to me and said, hi, good set, I mean, back then when I played, I jump around a lot and all of that. And many persons would have always compliment or talk about my way of entertaining. So I said, thank you like normal. And then she said to me that she blows a saxophone. I said, okay, interesting. What do you blow? And first thing, like, what kind of music you like? And but at that time we were packing up. The band was packing up, yeah. And I said to her, because that used to be my line. Once we finished play, we would go up to the lounge.
So she says that she plays the saxophone. They're having this conversation. He tells her that he's going to go up to the club, and that he will see her there. He goes downstairs. He goes to change and shower, whatever, and he goes to the club. Now, before he gets to the club, he sees Amy down in the balcony where the pool area is at, smoking, and he was like, to him, it stood out to him because he was like, I don't like smoking. I don't like any of that. So it made me feel uncomfortable. So I asked her, why are you smoking?
She was on the deck, on the decking outside. Yeah. So she saw me and she said, hi. And I said, hi. But she was smoking a lot, and that's not something I know or like. I growing up in Grenada, you hardly ever saw people smoke. And I was young, so it was like not a norm for me. Yeah. So we went up to the club, because that's where I was going, and we sat there. Of course, it's noisy, so there's not a lot you can say. But she was smoking a lot. And I asked her, I said, why are you? For me, it's uncomfortable. And it's like, why are you? And she said to me, she said her dad is an insurance manager or something like that. And he found out that she's gay, and he forced her to come to the cruise.
Looking back at everything, and I didn't mention all of this, but looking back at everything, the family knew that she was gay. She had a girlfriend and everything. In the very beginning, they were not very fond about it. They were not very happy. But they learned to love her no matter what. So in that cruise ship, or at that cruise ship, she was excited. She was with her family. She was having a good time. So there was nothing that showed that she was forced to be on this cruise ship. There was even friends before. There was a friend before she left that went to go shopping with her to get some bathing suits or whatever, and everything was fine. So the fact that he says that she was forced to be on this cruise ship, I don't believe it. And the fact that her parents were not happy about her being gay, that's not true. They loved her very much. You can see the little videos that they posted, everything. They loved her. The fact that they still looking for her to this day, there was no way that they didn't love her or cared about her.
So there's a difference though between loving her and not accepting what she's doing. I'm always gonna love my children.
Yes, I mean that's understandable.
But and especially after you lost your child, you never know how much you love something until you lose it.
Yes, I mean that's understandable.
So I mean, if they did have a debate or whatever, they weren't gonna show it after.
That's understandable, right? But I don't believe it. I do not believe it. They talked about it. The parents talked about it. They accepted it. They accepted it. Amy was super excited to go on this trip with her family. They were having a good time. There was nothing that shown that she was like in distress or that she was just not happy. There was nothing that showed that. I mean, you saw in the beginning. She was really happy. She was having a good time with her family. And then also, like I said, her friend mentioned before that they went shopping to go get bathing suits and that she was really excited to go.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't change the fact that she got kidnapped and she doesn't want to get kidnapped.
Well, yes, that it doesn't change that.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm bringing that up is the fact that he's stating that she was smoking because she was stressed at the fact that her father had just found out that she was gay and they forced her to come on this cruise ship. They did not just find out that she was gay. They knew that a while ago. He said that 5 minutes till 1, the day that, they were at the club or whatever, 5 minutes till 1, he told her that he had to go. That they couldn't be in the area. Like, they were not allowed, supposedly. The crew members were not allowed to associate too long with the people on the ship. and they were not allowed to have any girls in the room and all this stuff, right? And that they had to be gone by 1 in the morning and be in their rooms. His keypad shows that he went into his room at 3:30 in the morning. And supposedly he had a roommate.
So we was playing, and by playing, Alistair, which is yellow, end up talking to Amy Bradley. He talked to her. Now, the thing about it now is that he talked to her and she left and she go. Now, I never see Alistair leave with her, nothing like that. I'm his roommate, and when we finish play, we come back down to our cabin, and around, let's say about after um, 3 in the morning, yeah, after 3, 4 in the morning, around that time, somewhere there, the security came and knock on our cabin. They knock, they wake us up, they search the cabin, they say Amy Bradley is missing. Amy Bradley was nowhere to be found in our cabin, because if Amy Bradley was in the cabin with Alistair Douglas and I am in the cabin, I'm his roommate, I would have get fired from Royal Caribbean, you understand? Because that is against company policy to bring guests or passengers in your cabin.
It was just weird, right? And then he says that he's going to sue everybody. Once the truth comes out, he's going to sue everybody. Why don't you sue everybody now? If you know that you were not the person that stole or that took Amy Bradley, why don't you sue everyone now? Because that's false information that they're spreading about you. Why do you have to sue them when the truth comes out? I don't know. It was really weird, but whatever. So yeah, so that's what he was stating in this interview. Now, no one was ever arrested for her being taken, for her disappearance, and Yellow can't be arrested to this day because, one, he lives out of the U.S., so it's kind of hard for the people in America, because she's from America, to arrest someone out of the U.S., and then also there's not enough evidence to arrest him. So people believe that to this day that she's still alive, and their family is still not giving up. They have this website that they have. It's called amybradleymissing.com, and that's where they put a bunch of pictures of her and then everything that they found out and all the stuff that's where I found all these images and then the people that were
right now. She's
sketches.
what?
50.
Yeah, she's 50 years old.
She would be 50 years old. So they think that she's still alive and all this stuff, and that, like I said, there's this website that they have up, and they post a bunch of pictures. Basically, they post a lot of pictures of the family for holidays, for birthdays, and all this stuff. One thing that they did notice, there's an IP address that always shows up that's going to this website almost every holiday, pretty much every holiday, every birthday, to see anything new on the website. And they're thinking that that could be her. And this IP address is in Curaçao. They think that she's still alive. There's that IP address that keeps showing up. But
have you read anything or researched anything about today, right now? When did the documentary come out?
So the documentary came out recently, but there is a little things that came out of Brad Bradley is coming out on TikTok. So he has a TikTok now. He's coming out on TikTok and doing these lives and stuff like that. And he's talking more about the situation. Things that didn't pop up in the documentary series. So there's one thing that he did state that night, that supposedly, those two girls that saw him going up the elevator. So there's another witness that day. Her name was Elizabeth, and she was taking these medications where she couldn't be out in the sun. So she was mostly in that area where the club was at. She was always there. Because you could see, there was a whole bunch of windows, so you could see the whole view, but still be inside. She couldn't be in the sun because of those medications. That night that the two girls that saw them go up the elevator, Elizabeth was there early in the morning and saw them come out of that elevator, walk up the stairs where they were at originally. Remember how Brad had seen her at the very top and waved by? So they walked up where they were at. Supposedly that was yellow that time that Brad saw him. Her, and left. But they went back to the top. Supposedly the yellow went to grab a drink from the bartender, and he grabs a drink, gives it to her, gives it to Amy, and they ended up disappearing in the back, right? Now, that same witness states that after that happened, this girl that was around 18, 19 years old that supposedly worked on the cruise ship yelled out, "Señorita, kidnapped. Señorita, kidnapped." And that was that. Nothing else was said. That was what supposedly Elizabeth saw and heard. And that was given to the FBI, and they ended up interviewing her and everything. That was all the things that was being said about Amy. There was a little bit more stuff, but it's basically the same thing about the documentary. All the little things that were shown on the website, and that she was being spotted or sighted in one place or whatever. But they think that she's still alive, and they think that she has kids, but they don't know exactly where she's at. A lot of people are stating that that she, or people on TikTok, have their own opinion. They're stating that she possibly is not in Curaçao. She's not in Venezuela. She's not in Barbados. She's not in any of those places. She's in America. And the only reason why they state that is because it would only make sense. She would stand out in those areas, so they would definitely find her immediately. But if she's in America, down in the South, because she has a Southern accent, she wouldn't be, basically, they couldn't find her as easy. Mm-hmm. So that's where people are thinking that she's not.
Makes sense.
Over there. She's in America somewhere.
It's a pretty good assumption.
But I think at this point, I think she's just living her life.
Yeah, you know what I think at the same time? That she doesn't want to go back to her family no more.
That's what people are saying too. That she probably doesn't want to be found. But it's like, why? You don't think she misses her family?
She already has her own life.
It's just, I don't know.
And the truth and stuff, and how they're gonna, I don't know. Maybe one day she's gonna be like, "Hi, Mom."
Her parents are in their 70s. So they're like, we're not gonna lose
their
hope.
Their whole life they were looking for. What did they do for work?
They were working in an insurance company in the beginning.
And they still worked in there?
That, I don't know if they still work at the insurance company, but they were working in an insurance company when this whole thing happened. And they were in their 40s, and now they're in their 70s, and they're still looking for Amy. And they're not giving up.
Well, to the audience, never leave your sister alone. Never leave your mom alone. If you're a guy, you're a man. Your job is to protect. So protect the princesses of the world. And anybody, if you see somebody that you know is like wanted, like that girl that was in the bathroom, keep your eye on the person and then contact the FBI at the same time, I guess. But see where they go and everything. Think really crucial. I know those situations can be very difficult, but think about it crucially.
Yeah. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a lot of information, but I mean, maybe somebody out there would see it and be like, oh, I saw Amy or something, you know? Yeah. Maybe we'll find her one day, hopefully, and give some peace to the family. We don't know.
Subscribe, comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.